Hey, it's Marina, Travel Experta. Today, we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of being an expat, an expatriate. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. So, at this point, I have been an expat for over 20 years. I never actually expected myself to be an expat. It's not something that I aimed to do. But when you love to travel, and because I left with a backpack 22 years ago without any destination in mind and just wherever the wind would take me, I guess eventually I would have become an expat. But being an expat now for over 20 years, I can tell you one thing, that nothing will ever beat being an expat. Even if you could only do it for a year, a two, or whatever, the benefits, the pros will completely and totally outweigh the cons. So, just a quickie with the cons. What are the cons of being an expat? Well, obviously, the language barrier, right? Or the cultural differences, but you can get over that, right? You can learn a new language. Yes, it will take you some time, but that's the beauty of it. Cultural differences, you know what? You get over them, you get past them. That's also something that you adjust to, and that's the beauty of it. And the interesting part, pretty much anywhere in the world that you will be an expat, the people kind of assimilate to understanding that you are one, the locals, and they work with you. So really, those cultural differences aren't that huge. I've been an expat now mainly in Central America, Costa Rica, and in Guatemala. The one thing that I have noticed that is kind of a con is that the locals, unless they have left their country or are married to a foreigner, don't really befriend you on a very, very close basis as often as you would with an expat community. So that actually brings you to the biggest perk and pro and benefit of being an expat is the expat community. It is an incredible close community. Basically, anywhere you go, they are welcoming. They are always really open to making new friends, to making true bonds, because a lot of times our families are not close by. So you kind of make a new family when you live in a new country. And that is such a huge deal. And it's usually very multicultural, right? So that's part of also one of those things is a con that your family isn't close to you. So, but then again, it could be a pro that you could go and visit your family often, making those more of visits more adventurous and more exciting rather than the mundane visit to your in-laws or to your family. And also your family is now also benefiting from you living in a new world, in a new country, so they come to visit you. So the benefits, like I said, will constantly and completely overpower the cons or the negatives, the disadvantages. The other massive advantage, especially if you have children, is that your kids will be raised in a different culture and but still have the benefit of visiting your other culture. They will also have the advantage of learning new languages, and their friends will be multicultural, international, and that makes them a lot less ignorant and a lot less discriminant. As I have seen a lot of people that never leave their areas, their hometowns, or even their countries. So the benefits of being an expat completely and totally override anything and everything. And when you are an expat in, let's say, Central America or Asia or countries where, you know, your dollar, your money can go much further, you also have a lot of perks as far as, you know, having a cleaning lady, a nanny, sending your kids to private schools, sending your kids to great daycares. The benefits, again, will outride everything. Also, working from home, if you are a remote worker, that permits you to be able to go and see so many other places and live in those places for a longer period of time. And if you really want to become an expat and you don't have a remote position or a digital nomad style of life, it allows you to become much more creative, right? So you are able to kind of find a new way to work and a new way to make money so that you do have the capability of moving to a new country. Also, the fact that you are in a new country, in a new place, because of that, you want to explore those areas even more. So you're kind of by default traveling and experiencing a lot more, but more in a local kind of a way, which is probably the most enriching thing that you could do for yourself and even more so for your children. Like I said, I have been an expat now for over 20 years. I am happy to give advice on how to be an expat, what to do as an expat. I have an entire series about moving to a new country, an entire series about moving to Guatemala. So there are just so many advantages, and none of them will equal about working harder, making more money if you're not using that money to truly enjoy your life. And by the way, you can make a really good living being an expat if you do it properly. So like I said, I am happy to talk and help and give advice and feedback. And if you guys are digital nomads, are expats, I'd love to hear more of what you have done to make that come true. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review, share it with your friends, and remember to make every day an adventure.